For years, my family called me Thrift Store Boy. They laughed at my old car, my secondhand clothes, even the way I saved money. To them, I was a joke, the cheap brother who never fit in. But one day, my sister accidentally saw my bank account. And the moment she read that number, over $9 million, the look on her face told me everything. Suddenly, the joke wasn't so funny anymore. Please subscribe my channel, and like the video, watch the video till end. My name's Butter, and for as long as I can remember, I've been known in my family as the cheap one. Or, to be more exact, that he's the cheap brother. It started out as a joke. A little jab at how I liked shopping secondhand, instead of spending money on brand new things. But over the years, it turned into my entire identity in their eyes. It didn't matter that I had reasons, practical, personal reasons for the way I lived. They didn't care about that. To them, it was just funny. I was the odd one out, the quirky daughter who always wore mismatched clothes, who reused the same beat-up car, who packed lunches instead of eating out. And every time they called me Thrift Store Girl, it stung just a little more. I'm sitting here in my apartment as I tell this story. The place isn't fancy, but it's mine. The light above me flickers a little, humming quietly, and outside I can hear the faint rush of cars going down the wet street. It rained earlier, so there's that damp, earthy smell wafting into a cracked window. The living room is cozy, small bookshelf crammed with paperbacks I picked up secondhand, a thrifted couch covered in a soft, faded blanket, and a little coffee table with some scratches and chips in it. I keep it clean, but nothing here screams luxury. And that's the irony, because sitting on my laptop, tucked neatly in my online banking account, is over $9 million. I didn't come from money. My parents were middle class at best, and they spent most of what they had trying to keep up appearances. My mom loved brand names, Coach purses, Michael Kors watches, all those little signals that screamed, asterisk, I'm not average, I'm classy. Asterisk, my dad was the same, just with cars. He'd lease something flashy every couple of years. Always new, always shiny, but never actually his. And then there was me. I didn't fit into that cycle. Ever since high school, I hated the idea of wasting money on things that didn't matter. I wore thrift store jeans because they were just as good as new ones. I clipped coupons because it made sense. I drove an old Corolla with a busted ASC and windows that rolled down manually. To me, it wasn't about being poor or cheap. It was about being smart. But my family never saw it that way. Here comes Thrift Store Girl. My sister would smirk at Christmas, eyeing whatever small, carefully chosen gift I brought. Still driving that tin can, my dad laughed once when I pulled up to a family barbecue. And every time, I smiled and brushed it off, even though inside it burned. Here's what they never knew. I was investing. Quietly. Carefully. Every dollar I saved from not buying Starbucks, not splurging on designer clothes, not upgrading my car, I put to work. I started small, index funds at first, then a little bit into real estate, then tech startups. I studied. I read financial blogs late at night, when everyone else was scrolling Instagram. And little by little, it grew. By the time I hit 28, I wasn't just doing okay. I was wealthy. Wealthy in a way that didn't even feel real sometimes. But I never told them, because I knew what would happen. I'll never forget one Thanksgiving, maybe 3 years ago. We were at my parents' house, the dining room glowing under that gaudy chandelier my mom loved. The table was covered in food, turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce in a crystal dish. Everyone was dressed up. My sister wore some glittery designer dress, and my mom had on heels inside the house. I was in my usual jeans, an old sweater, sneakers. Halfway through dinner, my mom glanced at me and sighed. You know, Emily, you'd be so pretty if you just tried a little more. Bought yourself some nice things. You've got a good job, don't you? Why not treat yourself? I laughed it off, stabbing at my green beans, but inside I thought, asterisk, if only you knew. If only you knew that my tin can car and thrift store sweater are paid for by an account that could buy this house 10 times over. Asterisk. But I kept quiet, because what good would it do to tell them? Fast forward to last year. It was a Saturday morning, and I was meeting my sister, her name's Rachel, for coffee. She'd asked if we could catch up, and despite our rocky relationship, I said yes. We met at this little cafe downtown, the kind with mismatched chairs and the smell of fresh ground beans filling the air. Sunlight was pouring through the window, catching the dust motes in the air, and the place was buzzing with quiet conversation. Rachel looked perfect, of course. Hairstyled, nails done, wearing a crisp white blazer that probably cost more than my rent. We chatted a bit, small talk mostly, until she leaned in with a smile. "So, Emily," she said, stirring her latte, "where are you finally going to stop being, thrift store girl? Don't you get tired of it? Always being the cheap one." I laughed, but something in me cracked that day. I was tired of being the punchline. So instead of laughing it off, I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app, turned the screen toward her, and slid across the table. Her eyes scanned the numbers, then widened. She blinked, shook her head, looked again. "Wait, is this real?" she whispered. "Yeah," I said softly, sipping my coffee. "That's me being thrift store girl." The silence that followed was deafening. She just sat there, mouth slightly open, face pale. For the first time in my life, my sister, my perfect, polished, always in control sister, looked completely shaken. After a long pause, she said, $9 million? Emily, what the hell? Why didn't you ever say anything? I shrugged, because it's not who I am. Money doesn't define me. And honestly, it wouldn't have changed anything. You all would have still called me cheap. She stared at me, searching for words. I could see the gears turning in her head, the jealousy creeping in, the regret, maybe, too. Finally, she muttered, I didn't know." "I know you didn't," I said, standing up. Here's the funny part. After that day, Rachel's attitude and my entire family's actually shifted. Suddenly, I wasn't a joke anymore. Suddenly, I was the smart one, the successful one, the sibling they all bragged about to friends. But here's what they don't get. Nothing about me changed. I'm still the girl who shops secondhand. I still drive my old Corolla. I still cook at home instead of eating out, because none of that ever made me less. It made me free. Sometimes I think back to all those dinners, all those little digs, all those laughs at my expense. And now, I just smile, because I know something they never did until it was too late. Being thrift store girl didn't make me cheap. It made me a millionaire.